in the course of 1 month, that is from the 7th of June down to today, the 10th of July, 2025. Now, when you look at the records of what we have registered this particular month, you will tend to realize that there is a peak when it comes to migration matters. There are movements every now and then, and it is only through the vigilance of the GID that we're able to sometimes mitigate some of these practices. Now, before we go through the statistics of some of these cases, I would want to share with you that we have observed in different cases that the modus operandi of most of these organizers comes in different folds, but particularly the organizers in most cases are not even Gambians. They're non-Gambians who would come to the country, recruit migrants or recruit them in other West African countries, and then bring them to the Gambia as a transit. Now, in most cases, their payments are done in installments. It is not done using any bank accounts, but it is done installment. And it ranges from $25,000 going down to $80,000. And when we are able to receive some of these cases, it becomes hard for you to trace the money because there is no track of how it was being paid because it is all physically done. But then we've also noticed that the surge of irregular migration occurs in key communities within the Gambia. And in most of these cases includes the areas of Katong, Gunjur, Sanyang, Tangi, and also of recent we had seen others around Bara as well. And these areas we've mentioned all fall within the coastal lines, the coastal belt, and one can now be able to gauge why are they always using these particular areas. So it means as personnel within the immigration society, and also as citizens, we need to know what efforts can we play to be able to at least mitigate these practices. Now, looking at the cases from June, starting with June 7, 2025, there was an interception made in Brikama around 2100 hours at night. This interception, we were able to have 22 would-be migrants in the interception. And then chiefly among all those that were intercepted are non-Gambians. We had only one Gambian who was in that particular interception. We had 13 Guineans. There were 3 Malians. We also had 2 Ivorians and 1 Zambian. Now, from the numbers we've had, Zambia had not been a common case in the Gambia. But now we have seen people outside the West African bloc also being involved through the Gambia here. Now, by gender aggregation, we had 10 of them who were males, 12 of them were females, and this includes 1 minor who is a male, and again a minor who is a female. That is 2 minors altogether in the first case. Now, this case occurred in Brikama on the 7th of June, 2025. Now, in that case, we've understood that there are 2 smugglers who were involved. And again, most of these migrants in their operandi nowadays, they will not just go to the sea directly. They would lodge in a particular vicinity in a community. And there was a landlord that harbored them in that particular area. And then the main organizer of the case is believed to be Abdullahi Yafa, who remains at large at this particular point in time. Now, in the second case, it happened at Tangi, Batokunku. We had it on the 11th of June, 2025. 46 would-be migrants were intercepted in these operations, and this includes 6 Gambians, 23 Senegalese, 7 Guineans, 6 Malians, and 4 Ivorians in this case. So you can again see in the comparative analysis that we still have only a few Gambians involved in that particular case as well. The demographics, we have 41 of them who were males, 5 of them were females, and we had 1 minor who's a female also in that particular case. The organizer of this particular trip is believed to be Abdoulaye Lowe, who is also a Senegalese national, and Adam Adem, who is a Gambian national. Now again, you would see that interconnection between how Senegambians are able to connect in trying to organize most of these trips. While it occurs within the Gambia, we can now see that West African countries are using the Gambia as a route to be able to connect into other countries. Now, talking about the third case that occurred in Bara on the 28th of June, 2025, we had 17 would-be migrants that were intercepted. In the same number, we have just 5 Gambians, 7 Guineans, 3 Senegalese, and 2 Malians. So again, based on the number aggregate 2, the Gambian number still remains at a lower scale. We had 12 of them that were male, 5 of them were female, and 2 female minors who are also involved in the case. When it comes to those that are seen as suspects in that case, we have 3 smugglers, which include Khadim Jai, who was able to provide a safe house in Tangi for the migrants, and Bachili, who was able to facilitate the crossing point of the people via the Amdalai border post. And this occurred on the 20th of June, 2025. Moving forward, we had another case in the same month, June, which occurred at Jara Soma, a very rare case where we see interceptions made around those areas like Jarasoma. But then, if they are now expanding to other regions, we have to ask ourselves again, why are they shifting the dynamics? Is it because they have seen us registering more success within the Greater Banjul area here, and now they want to explore more areas? And that will still call for more vigilance from other regions in the Gambia, that they have no single place where they want to stay, and they will look for all routes to be able to travel within the Gambia. Now, in that case, we had Lamin Jete, who is believed to be the suspect of that particular case, and Lamin is a Gambian from Kiang Tankular. We were able to recover one large wooden boat and 240 horsepipe Yamaha engine in that particular case. And we had co-suspects of Lamin, which includes Sekou Kamara and also Lamin Jaju, who are both Gambians in that circumstance. Moving forward, we had another case which occurred in July. So in the month of June, we had close to 8 cases, right? But then let's look at the cases we had in June. In July, for example, we're just in the first week of July. Today is the 10th of July. And we have received more than 3 interceptions in just that particular week. And what is most shocking is the number had increased tremendously when it comes to the case of July. The first case we had was in Katong. In Katong, we had 8 migrants that were intercepted on the 3rd of July, 2025. This includes 2 minors, and they were all found at the Katong border crossing point where they were intercepted. Now, we again had another case in Katong on Saturday, 6th July 2025. So Katong becomes also a hub when it comes to irregular migration activities. And in the second case that occurred on the 6th of July, we had 31 would-be migrants who were intercepted. The suspect, the agent who was found in the investigation, was Mohamed Njai, who is a Senegalese at the age of 29, and was apprehended during the operations. Now, the key organizers, they have agents. You have the main organizers and the sub-agents that they also come in contact with. And in some cases, the main organizer stays outside the country, and then the agents would be the one that recruit people within the country. So we had Lamin Sarr, who's also a Senegalese, but he's resident in Spain. So somebody staying in Spain, but still being able to recruit people to go into this route as well. And then we also have a sub-agent, that is Yaya Janko, who remains at large as we speak. And this case occurred on Saturday, 6 July 2025. Now, the most recent case that was intercepted is just yesterday, on the 9th of July 2025. Now, if you put together all what we have registered from June down to the 7th of July, it totals about 223 migrants altogether. But then now, let's add the number of what we had received yesterday. Yesterday, there was an operation in Sanyang that was conducted. We received an intelligence that gave us tips that there is a particular irregular movement in Sanyang, because most of our operations are intelligence-led. We have people that engage with the public, they share with us information, and we act upon that. And when we acted on that particular intelligence, we were able to apprehend the suspect, who is also a Senegalese in this case. And then we also realized that there are 3 compounds in Sanyang village where this number of migrants were all intercepted. And we're talking about 167 migrants just in one operation. And they were harbored in 3 compounds within Sanyang. Now, a question can be asked again: how is it possible that people can be living around our neighborhoods, moving up and down, and we tend to raise a suspicious mindset as to what is happening in that environment? So the public has to maintain that vigilance, because if we are not in all areas, they should be able to at least serve as the eye of the immigration department. So we also realized that after the case was reported, the suspect was apprehended, we were able to apprehend all these 167 would-be migrants that were in Sanyang, and they're currently with us here at the Tangi migration base as we speak. Now, what is the aggregation of this number of migrants we had recently? Out of the 167, only 22 of them are Gambians. I have to emphasize this because we need to know very well that there are reasons why people want to use Gambia as a route. We have been seeing many debates or arguments on the media that we have been very much strict when it comes to non-Gambians. And this should serve as a limelight for you to understand why GID does not just want to strictly avoid our regulations. So we had Gambians who were just 22. 77 of these migrants were Senegalese in this last case. 50 of them were Guineans. And these 2 countries are just at our immediate borders. You will understand that Guinea is not far from the Gambia, and they can easily enter through the Bassi and other areas. Senegalese can come in different locations within the country. And then we also have 11 of them that are Malians, 2 were Ivorians, 1 Liberian, and then the number that we had received also included 1 pregnant woman who was also involved. Now, on gender aggregation, we had 113 of them were males, and 54 of them were female. You can see also how the number has increased in the female aggregation. We used to have 5, 6, or 2 females, right? We're talking about 54 now that were also involved in this case. And some of them have minors with them, very young kids, that they want to risk their lives and go into this irregular migration route. So we had 25 of them who were minors out of this 167 number. Now imagine a child of 11 years, 15 years, or let's say, for example, less than that, taking a risk of going into a boat in this rainy season when you are not able to predict what time is it going to rain. And then you are now supposed to spend days at the sea before you're able to reach your destination. In fact, reaching becomes at the peak of it. That is just our false hope. What happens if they capsize within the sea? Are we able to consider some of the circumstances? But then the trend continues, and we think we have to add more efforts to be able to make people understand that the regular route is too risky for us to be able to sacrifice our lives into it. Now, overall, on all these interceptions from the 7th of July to the 10th of, from the 7th of June to the 10th of July today, we realized that we had 382 migrants that have been intercepted in different operations. And then, if you look at them in aggregates based on